Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome back to the New Orleans Kings franchise here on MLB The Show. And in this episode, I do want to take a closer look at our prospects here in Season 2. And a lot of you guys submitted some prospects during last year's draft. I said that I would rename some free agents that we did sign that were kind of computer generated. So the first is going to be Wegbu. Tell me if I'm saying that wrong. He is a starting pitcher. He is 20 years old, 63 overall. He's got time to develop. Now, Anthony Dorsett Jr. is an interesting guy. He's 25 years old, beat potential, 64 overall. And remember, I did not doctor any of these ratings. So these are just guys I renamed, changed their likeness. So I changed their batting stance, their skin color, wherever. And I kind of just went from there. Now, a really interesting prospect here is Nate Barron. Now, he is a really good shortstop. I found him in free agency. He's 25 years old, see potential, 67 overall, but he leads our organization in average at this moment. He has great plate vision with 72, and that's what set him apart. When I saw him in free agency, I thought that he has a legit shot to develop into a future major league caliber player. He's got decent fielding and decent fielding attributes all around, so he will definitely push Greg Kissinger, who is one of our young shortstops in our organization as well, along with Jeremy Pena. Now, the last guy I will have here is Dustin Brees. He isn't doing as well as the other three prospects right now, but he's 20 years old, so he's got plenty of time to develop good speed right now too. So I am really encouraged by what he brings to the table, as he brings another speed element, which I've kind of looked to do and boost in our organization. So looking at our AAA level, though, we're not doing so hot. Jimmy Palco and Jace Vines aren't doing well to start out the year so far. I was hoping that Palco would kind of start out hot and he would be on a fast track to the major leagues as an 18-year-old phenom. I'm not sure that will happen this year. Seems like he's kind of cold to start the year. But that same thing continues with our positional players, with Hoyon Park hitting about 220 or so, Jeremy Pena 240. I mean, these guys are not doing as well as I thought they would do. I thought Jeremy Pena would kind of have, maybe Hoyon Park would kind of have the biggest shot of making the majors this year, but it seems like that's not happening, because even Scooter Gennett is doing well at the major league level. But the one guy that seems consistent at every single level, anytime we put him there, is Justin Thompson. A great fielder, doesn't have the greatest of arms, but he has good speed, but he just hits for average. I mean, he's hitting 350 right now, and you can just see at the AAA level, he is starting out hot. Right now, I would probably peg him as our number 2 prospect in our organization, simply because of his production right now. And I think that Corey Lee is definitely number 1 still, but he's at the major league level now, so I wouldn't really call him a prospect, so he has a shot at going after that rookie of the year. So we'll have to see. I think that Forrest Whitley is still there, and I do like Pelko as well. He is awesome as an 18-year-old phenom. So let's check out JR Bonifacio, a guy who is a custom prospect that you guys submitted, and I want to see what the lefties got. Another lefty in our organization. I want to see what these lefties have, because we don't have many of them on the mound here at the major league level right now. So let's hop into this game. The Corpus Christi hooks here, and we're playing Tulsa. Let's see what Bonifacio can do on the mound. Here he has a guy on first and second, but he does get the ground ball for the double play. And he does have a unorthodox pitching repertoire here. You can see he has another one on the inside part of the plate, and that's a knuckleball from a lefty that's only about 68 miles per hour. That's going to be deadly. If he can kind of control that and get it going over the plate, he will be pretty good. So up comes our offense. That is going to be Shane Bauer leading us off. He starts out with a leadoff single. He hit about 230 last year. He's definitely hitting better this year, hitting about 285. So up comes Nate Barron, who hits one deep to center field, and that is going to be caught in center. And I want to see what he can develop into. He's 25 years old, 67 overall, and that brings up the guy who he's kind of competing with, Greg Kissinger, who hits one hard up the middle after a disappointing 2020, and he will beat out the throw from the catcher. And there we go, guys on first and second here in the first inning, as that brings up 23-year-old Tommy Knight, hitting 357. he is actually developing pretty nicely. As he started out last year at 62 overall, he's now at 67. So it's just interesting to see these guys develop. Up comes Cain King, one of our draftees last year who is deep potential. He draws the walk. So now that brings up Brian De La Cruz, hitting 308 in the 6th hole. He hits one hard to second base with the bases loaded, and that one will be a ground out as Tulsa gets out of that inning. So let's just check on Bonifacio on the mound. Let's just see what he can do, and he does get a man out here to start the 3rd inning, as that brings up the top of the lineup here, Mac McMillan, who hits a tapper in front of the plate, and it's fielded by our man behind the plate. And that is going to be 2 outs as that brings up the second hitter in the lineup. And it's another ground ball, and that's another put out here for our defense. Bonifacio looks like he settled down a little bit after that 1st inning. Here we move on to the 5th inning. Still a 0-0 game as we do get a strikeout there. And now that brings up the top of the lineup again, and it's going to be another one. And I like what Bonifacio is doing. I love to see these left-handers in our organization develop, as that brings up Shane Bauer in the bottom of the 5th inning. He drives one deep, and that one is not coming back. It's a home run, 403 feet, his first home run of the year. He's definitely not a power bat, so it's encouraging to see him at least show some flashes here, as that makes it 1-0, as that brings up Nate Barron, our new signee in the free agency. In the offseason, he gets a hit to the right side, and he will be on his horse after the right fielder bobbles that one. And look at this one. He's hustling into second base with a single. I guess you can call it a stand-up double, but it's going to be a single with an error, as now we got a man on second base. Let's see if Gray Kissinger can bring him in. He does check swing on that one, and it's going to be a called 4th ball on that one, as that brings up Tommy Knight to the plate. Man on 1st and 2nd here. 2 outs, 3-1 count. And that was delivered on a silver platter right over the middle of the plate. But it's a big pop fly to center, and they get out of that inning. So now we move on to the 6th inning, and let's see what Bonifacio can do with some late inning pitches here, as he's at about 67. And look at that. He gives up a hit to start out this inning with no outs. That brings up the next batter, who drives one deep to center field, and that one is going to be run down. And that is going to be our other new signee in free agency. That's Brees out in center, as that brings up the next batter, who hits one to right field. And Armando Walker is not going to run that one down. So guys on 1st and 2nd here, 1 out in the inning, as that brings up the 5-hole hitter, who hits one to the right side, and that one's through. Bases loaded. Let's see if Bonifacio can get out of this jam. I do want to see what these guys can do in clutch situations. And with bases loaded, he walks a man in. So now this game is tied 1-1, as that brings up Michael Hills to the plate. We're going to bring in Bobby Njoku, at least get him throwing in the bullpen. And Bonifacio continues this at bat and gives up a hit to the left side. 2-1 for Tulsa. And now we are down by 1 run as we keep him in the game here. Cartaya at the plate, who drives one deep to left center, and that one will reach the wall, and is going to score all 3 runners on this one, and it is now 5-1. I wanted to see what Bonifacio can do in a situation where he was backed up against the wall. It seems like he's not ready yet, but we are going to bring in Bobby Njoku, who was our last pick in the draft last season. And I like what he is. He's about 61 or 62 overall. B potential, though, still young, 20 years old. And you can just see right here, ERA of 3. And he's coming out of the bullpen. So he is technically a starting pitcher, but I have him as more of a relief pitcher right now, as we're getting some innings out of him. So the first batter he faces, a pop fly out to left field. And that one's going to be the second out of the inning, as we do get the next batter to swing on the inside part of a plate, and he gets out of that jam. As now we move on to the 6th inning. Here is Cain King at the plate. The third baseman goes down the left field line, and that one is going to be a leadoff double here in the 6th inning. So nice start to this inning. And that brings up Armando Walker hitting here in the 7th hole. Let's see if he can drive a run in. He hits one to the right side, and it's fielded and thrown to first for the second out of the inning, as that brings up Dustin Brees, our last free agent signing that we just brought up earlier in the episode. And he goes to opposite field, and that is a hit to the right side. And there we go. That is going to be our second run of the game. And now here we are once again with a man on first base, Chuckie Robinson, the catcher. He swings and misses, and it's a hit and run on that one, and we're going to get thrown out trying to swipe that one. And now we move on to the 7th inning. Let's see what our offense can do. So let's see. That's a hit up the middle. That's Shane Bauer again for his 3rd hit of this game. And now, man on first, Nate Barron at the plate, leading our organization in average. He hits one up the middle as well, and that one sneaks through. So now guys on first and second here. And now we got a situation where we can drive in some runs. Greg Kissinger at the plate here, 1 for 2 up to this point. It's just a ground ball. Let's see if he can beat out the double play. And he will by a half a step. So guys on the corners with Tommy Knight, who's hitting around 300 to start this season. He gets a pitch on the inside part, but is just a little late. And it's going to be a fly ball in foul territory. Run down by the 3rd baseman. As we move on to the 9th inning, Chuckie Robinson, one of our young catchers in the organization. He's not really going to have a future at the MLB level. I don't think he's just going to be kind of a minor league guy we keep around. And just in case of injury, he might play eventually. But he's just a development guy right now, as we do have 2 outs in the inning. And that brings up Nate Barron, who is 2 for 4 in this game. And he hits a ground ball to second base. And that is going to do it here for your Corpus Christi Hooks. And we are going to lose this one 5-2. But good to see some of these young prospects. And Shane Bauer, 3 for 5. Nate Barron, 2 for 5. Cain King, 1 for 3. And Kissinger went 1 for 3 as well. So last episode, we left off at about 11-13 on the season at the end of April. We will just finish the month of April here in this episode as we look at our closer, who we signed in the offseason, Nate Jones, to about a 2-year, $4 million deal. Let's see if he can close out this game versus one of the best teams in the AL right now, the Minnesota Twins, at 18-8. And here he faces the first batter with 2 outs, and that is going to be a hit to the right side. And now they got a man on first base, and Matt Olson, who they acquired in trade in the offseason from the Oakland Athletics. He goes to opposite field, and that's a hit to left side. So now guys on first and second. Eddie Rosario at the plate, hitting in the 5-hole for the Twins. And it's going to be an outside changeup, and he watches that one for the 3rd strike of the at-bat. And that one will end this game. We barely scrape a win out of this one, but I'll take it. We are hovering around 500 right now. But Marcus Semien went 3 for 4 in this game with the home run. It seems like he's hitting the ball well as of late now. And I like to see that because he does still hit in the 2 and 3 hole. I kind of switch off for him. But now we just move on a little bit, and we get an interesting offer here from the Minnesota Twins, who we just got done defeating. They want Yasiel Puig. Now let's take a look at what Puig is doing this year. He's 30 years old, 83 overall, but hitting .391 to start out this season. He is going to be a free agent next season, making $4.5 million, but it doesn't really matter because he's not locked up long term. So really getting rid of him isn't really a huge deal, but he's hitting .391. So let's see who they are offering. Jake Cave. He's 28, so 2 years younger, but about 8 overall points lower than Puig. I don't know about this deal. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments section about if you guys think I should make this deal. I don't think I should, simply because I see how well Puig is playing this year, and I don't know if we will ever get this type of production out of his replacement here, Jake Cave. So I am not going to make this trade at this moment. I think that Puig is having a career year. This is a career year for anybody, and an awesome start for him. And you know what? I think he's hitting really, really well. I've moved him up to about the 2 spot and the 3 spot in the lineup. And let's just see our outfield depth at the major league level. Billy Hamilton is still there, but he's not hitting the ball well. Randy Arozarena is there, but he's off to a rough start. DJ Peters is also cold. But then let's just look at the stats here. And you can see Yasiel Puig is leading the AL in average right now. So they would be trying to acquire the best hitter right now in baseball in the AL. And that just brings up a question. I mean, do we get rid of him, or do we wait and see if we can get more out of Yasiel Puig? But right now, we're still kind of in contention, so I do want to keep him around. So now, towards the end of the month of April, we do hop into a situation. Jesus Aguilar on a 12-game hitting streak, and he will swing and miss, but we get the win. I mean, we're winning some of these games now, and some of these games are close. As you can see, this one was Marcus Semien, 3 for 5. He gets player of the game in this one, and we end up scoring 2 in the 9th inning, and we win this one 4-2. So what a victory right there. And at the end of the month of April, we win 3 out of 4 from Minnesota. We split with the Oakland Athletics, and then we win that last game versus Kansas City. So now we move into the month of May, and this is a favorable schedule here in May. Kansas City below 500, 13-19. Baltimore below 500. Toronto below 500. Miami, the Angels, Detroit. Everybody right here is below 500 except for our final 2 series with the White Sox and the Red Sox. So if we can do well in the month of May, we could very well be in first place when it's all said and done at the end of this month. And I just wanted to check up on Puig there. He is still the lead leader in average at 373. So still up there, but he is coming back down to earth. But we are now second in the division, 2.5 games back from the Athletics. We are very much still in this division, and I am very encouraged by the play of our MLB level and our prospects. So let me know what you guys think about that trade. Let me know what you guys think about some of the prospects we saw in this episode. And that's going to do it here. So hit subscribe, hit that like button. We'll come back for more Kings episodes tomorrow. So stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
I be trying to do me, but they be trying to copy though. Only problem with that is they not me though. People act cool, but really they be shiesty though. They say they got your back, but they ain't even behind me though. I be low key, but police be trying to find me.